After a long day working double shifts, I came home to my mother-in-law screaming, "She doesn't deserve to eat at our table." My husband sat in silence as she took my dinner plate and scraped it into the trash. I slept in the garage that night. 2 weeks later, I found something in the attic that. My name's Tessa. I'm 34, a night nurse at a private care home in Spokane, Washington. I work hard. Real hard. 12-hour shifts, sometimes 16 when someone calls out. I don't complain because I know the bills don't care how tired you are. I've been married to Josh for 3 years. He used to be sweet. The kind of guy who rubbed my feet when I came home, who left sticky notes with "I love you" on the bathroom mirror. That guy disappeared around the time his mom moved in. Her name's Martha. She's 66, walks like her bones are made of glass, but somehow still manages to throw more weight around the house than anyone else. She moved in after a bad fall, but after a few months, it was clear she wasn't planning on leaving. Ever. At first, I tried. God knows I tried. I helped her get to her appointments, made her tea, even took time off work to set up the guest room nice. But she never liked me. I don't know if it's because I'm not for money or because I work nights or because I once told her I wasn't ready for kids. Whatever it was, the dislike started as passive-aggressive comments and ended up feeling like war. But that night, that one goddamn night, something in me snapped. I'd just finished a 16-hour shift. Got called in after someone quit mid-shift. I hadn't eaten since the morning. My back hurt, my feet were screaming, and I smelled like antiseptic and old people. When I walked into the house, I immediately smelled roast chicken. I walked into the kitchen and saw Martha at the stove. The table was set. Plates with mashed potatoes, corn, gravy. I actually felt hope for a second. Then I stepped into the dining room. Josh was already sitting there. Plate full, beer in hand. Martha turned and looked at me like I'd stepped into her church with muddy boots. "Finally," she said. "The stray decides to show up." I didn't even react. I was too tired. I just walked over to the third plate at the end of the table. I sat down, grabbed my fork, and that's when Martha stood up, loud, and said it. "She doesn't deserve to eat at our table." I froze. I thought I misheard her. "What did you say?" I asked. She walked over to me, picked up my plate like it was trash, and scraped it, loud and slow, into the garbage. The food I was about to eat. The only food I'd had all day. "She's up playing nurse all day and thinks she's better than us. That's not what a real wife does. You don't even make him lunch anymore." I looked at Josh. He didn't say a word. Just chewed his food like he was watching TV. I felt something in me crack. Not a full break. Just a shift. Like a crack in glass that spreads later. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I just stood up, grabbed a blanket from the hall closet, walked into the garage, and laid down next to the water heater. I slept with rats scratching above my head. That's how much pride I had left. The next day, nothing changed. No apology. No explanation. Josh acted like everything was normal. Martha gave me a look like I was the crazy one. For 2 weeks, I kept my head down. Went to work, came home, avoided eye contact. I started eating granola bars in the car. It was easier that way. But I noticed something strange. Martha had started going up to the attic. Our attic's not finished. It's just insulation and cobwebs. We don't keep anything important up there. She said she was looking for old coats or bedding, but it never added up. And she always went up there when Josh was gone. Then one Saturday, when they both went to the grocery store, I finally got curious. I pulled down the attic ladder. It groaned like it hadn't been touched in years. I climbed up, phone flashlight in hand, and started looking around. Dust covered everything. Boxes, bags, old paint cans. That's when I saw a box labeled Josh's college stuff. It was shoved behind a stack of old picture frames. I opened it. Inside were letters. Dozens. Maybe more. All from someone named Carla. Each one was neatly folded, tied with string. The return addresses were all from places like Boise, Coeur d'Alene, Missoula. All small towns. All close enough to drive in a few hours. The dates went back years. 2014, 2016. 2018, then 2022. 2023. Some letters were just mushy, dumb things. I miss your hands. Can't wait to kiss you again. But then I found one that made my throat close up. I can't wait until it's just us again. Then another, don't let her guilt you into staying with Tessa. She doesn't even know what love looks like. Then this one, your mom said she'd help talk some sense into you. You need to stop dragging this out. That's when I found the photo. I felt like I was watching someone else hold it. Josh. Smiling. Holding hands with a woman with red hair, thick glasses, standing outside a little diner. The date on the back said February of this year. Martha was in the background. Smiling. Holding a to-go bag. Like it was just another family outing. I sat there in that attic for maybe 30 minutes, shaking. Reading letter after letter. Some of them had lipstick marks. One had a torn receipt from a hotel in Sandpoint, Idaho. My heart didn't break. It hardened. I felt it turn into something sharp. That's when I started planning. I didn't tell anyone what I found. Not at first. I tucked the letters and photo back into the box, then moved it to the trunk of my car. I needed time to think. I needed space to breathe. But mostly, I needed to see just how deep this went. That night, I didn't say a word. I cooked dinner, spaghetti, nothing fancy, and watched them both eat like nothing was wrong. Josh told me about some dumb TV show. Martha complained about the neighbor's barking dog. I smiled. Nodded. Pretended. Inside, I was boiling. The next morning, I called out of work for the first time in months. I told them I had the flu. I didn't. I needed the day to do some digging. I drove to Coeur d'Alene. That's where the photo was taken, outside a diner called Brady's Corner. It was about an hour-and-a-half drive, and I made it without stopping once. When I got there, I sat in the car for a minute, watching the door. I don't know what I expected. Maybe to see her. Carla. Maybe to scream. But instead, I walked inside, ordered a coffee, and showed the waitress the photo. Oh yeah, she said, squinting. That's Josh. He's been here a few times. Real friendly guy. I swallowed. Do you know the woman? The waitress gave me a look. That's his wife. Carla. She teaches at the elementary school nearby. I nearly choked on the word wife. Wife? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She nodded, totally casual. They've been together forever. I think they moved here from Butte. He's always in and out, though. Says he works construction in Spokane, travels a lot. I felt like the floor disappeared. I thanked her, left a tip I couldn't afford, and went straight to my car. I sat there shaking, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Josh wasn't just cheating. He was married. And Martha knew. I drove straight to the county clerk's office. I pulled marriage records. My hands were sweating, but I found it. Carla and Josh. Married in 2011. Still active. Which meant I was never legally married to him. Everything, our wedding, the house, the paperwork, was a lie. A trick. A cover. And Martha? She was part of it. When I got home, I didn't say a word. I kissed Josh on the cheek. I asked Martha how her soap opera ended. I acted like everything was normal. But I started watching. listening. I tracked his phone when he forgot it one night. I found a hotel reservation in Idaho next weekend. Under a fake last name. I started copying documents. Recording conversations. I even bought a small audio recorder on Amazon and taped it under the kitchen table. And that's how I found out the worst part. One night, when I was in bed pretending to be asleep, I heard them talking downstairs. Josh and Martha. The recorder caught it all. "She's getting suspicious," Josh said. "She's not asking as many questions anymore." "She's a fool," Martha replied. "Just drag it out a little longer. Once Carla's settlement clears, you'll be set." "You sure she won't go after the house?" he asked. "She can't," Martha said. "She's not your wife, remember?" They both laughed. I laid there, tears sliding down my face onto the pillow. I wasn't part of a family. I was part of a scam. After hearing that recording, I stopped sleeping. I'd lie in bed next to Josh, staring at the ceiling while he snored like nothing was happening. I felt trapped in my own house, surrounded by people who thought I was too stupid to see what they were doing. But I saw it. All of it. And I started planning something they wouldn't see coming. I made copies of the marriage record from Idaho. I printed emails I'd found when I snooped his laptop. I had his hotel reservation, too. And every day, I collected more. I made a folder, labeled it insurance, and hid it at the bottom of a locked box at work. Then one day, while Josh was looking for work and Martha was watching her soaps, I had a conversation with a lawyer. A real one. His name was Greg. A coworker at the care home recommended him, said he helped her through a bad divorce. I told him everything. He didn't say much at first. Just sat there quietly as I laid it all out: fake marriage, the affair, the forged documents, the lies. Then he leaned forward and asked, "Tessa, has anyone ever asked you to sign anything you didn't understand?" I nodded. "When Josh and I bought the house. He said it was just to speed things up, said he'd handle the paperwork. I was working doubles back then. I trusted him." Greg stared at me a second. Then said something that made my stomach turn. "I think he put that house under his real name. You might not even own a single piece of it." I felt sick. The house I helped pay for. The mortgage I'd bled myself dry for. It wasn't mine. None of it was. That night, I didn't go home. I told Josh I had an overnight shift. I stayed in a motel, thinking, planning, crying. I needed more time. The next day, I went into work early and pulled some strings. I called in favors. Got a few days off. Then I made my move. I called Carla. I used a burner phone I bought from Walmart. She answered on the third ring. "Hello?" "Hi," I said. "I think we need to talk. It's about Josh." She hung up immediately. So I texted her a photo of the two of them, taken from one of the letters. Then another, Josh and me, cutting cake at our wedding. She called back 10 seconds later. Furious. "Who the hell are you?" "I'm the woman he's been living with for the last 3 years," I said. "And you're his actual wife. So I think we've both got a right to know what the hell is going on." She was quiet for a long time. Then she asked to meet. We met in a public park in Post Falls the next day. She wore sunglasses and looked like she hadn't slept either. We sat at a picnic bench and laid everything out. Turns out, Josh had been bouncing between both of us for years. He told her I was his cousin's widow, someone he was helping get back on her feet. Said she was living with his mom temporarily. He even sent Carla money from my account, calling it business earnings. But here's the twist. Carla was done with him too. "He's waiting on my settlement from a car accident," she said. "It's 6 figures. I was going to give him part of it, until you messaged me." We stared at each other. 2 women with the same scar carved into them by the same man. And that's when we made a plan. Not for revenge. Not yet. First, we needed to trap him. Catch him with his own words. Carla would keep pretending like nothing was wrong. She'd let him think the money was coming. I'd stay quiet too, play my part. We'd draw him in. Make him greedy. Make him talk. And when the time was right, we'd bury him. We waited 3 weeks. 3 long weeks where I smiled through clenched teeth. Where Carla called Josh and let him dream out loud about the new house they'd buy once her settlement came through. I pretended to be busy with night shifts, stayed quiet at home, and kept collecting more dirt. And Josh? He got cocky. He started disappearing more often. Sometimes for whole nights. I knew exactly where he was. Carla let me track every visit. She even started recording their conversations too. That's how we caught him saying it, once the check clears, we dump the nurse. Mom's already got her halfway out the door anyway. He laughed. Carla didn't. Neither did I when I heard it. That was the final piece we needed. The day of his downfall started like any other. Martha was folding towels. Josh was nursing a hangover on the couch. I told them I was running errands and left the house. What they didn't know. Carla had invited him to meet her at a bank in Spokane to sign for the settlement check. She told him it was in her name only, and she needed him there to open a joint account, so they could start their life. Josh showed up, wearing his best jeans and a wrinkled button-up. Greedy and clueless. Instead of a bank manager, he found me and Carla sitting at a conference table inside a private office space I'd rented. Greg, my lawyer, was there too. He had a laptop open and a stack of papers in front of him. "What is this?" Josh asked, his eyes bouncing between us. Carla smiled coldly. "It's payday, sweetheart." Greg hit play on a video. It was one of Carla's recordings. Josh talking about dumping me, stealing the settlement money, laughing with Martha about how I was just a free nursemaid. Josh's mouth dropped. Before he could talk, I slid a folder across the table. "Here's a copy of your Idaho marriage license," I said. "And here's a fraud report I filed with the state about our fake wedding. Oh, and this," I pulled out a USB stick. "Has every conversation you and your mommy dearest had about scamming me." Josh stood up. "This is illegal. You can't do this." "You're not in a position to bark orders," Greg said. "You've committed marriage fraud, financial fraud, and depending on what your mother knew, maybe conspiracy." Then Carla dropped the last bomb. "I talked to the insurance company," she said. "I told them not to issue the settlement yet. I also told them everything. About the fake marriage. About your lies. About the money you took. They're investigating now. You'll be lucky if you get a penny." Josh looked like he wanted to disappear. But we weren't done. I stood up and walked to the door. "You've got 20 minutes to get your stuff out of my house. I've changed the locks and shut down the joint account. And just so you know, Martha's not on the lease either. She'll be out by tonight." "You can't do that," he yelled. "I already did." We left him sitting there, his face red, his future shattered. When I got home, Martha was sitting on the couch like always. I didn't say a word. I handed her a legal notice to vacate and told her the sheriff would be by in the morning. She screamed. Called me every name you can think of. But I just walked away. That night, I slept in my own bed. Alone. Peaceful. Carla and I still talk sometimes. We're not friends, but we share something now, an ugly truth we both survived. Josh tried to reach out months later. Said he missed me. That he was confused. I blocked him. He made his choices. So did I. And now? I finally feel free.